Hello, everyone. Welcome to Buy Bags. I'll be your reviewer for today. I'm Lonnie from Horror Heaven 77. And I got a question for you. Would you believe me if I told you that there was actually a movie where Jason Mewes, Jay from the Jay and Silent Bob movies, would you actually believe me if I actually told you that there was a movie where Jay from Jay and Silent Bob was actually played a psychopathic killer? Would you believe me if I told you that? Well, such a movie does actually exist, and that's the movie that I want to talk about today. This movie, I believe, came out in either 2010 or 2013. There's two separate copyrights here on the back cover, but the movie I'm talking about today is called Silent but Deadly. And I just finished watching this movie for to get ready for the review. And I got to be honest, I really enjoyed this movie for the most part. I do have some issues with it, but we'll get into that. It's a really good movie though. It's a good horror comedy, but that's kind of the thing that I'm having trouble with. As far as one of the things I'm having trouble with this movie, I'm having more trouble trying to decide, like, you know, do I have more trouble with the idea of buying Jason Mewes as a psychopathic killer, or am I having more trouble believing that there's a lot of comedy and a lot of humor in this movie, and Jason Mewes isn't the center of it? Because usually, if you ever watch, the Kevin Smith movies, the Jay and Silent Bob stuff, usually if there's comedy, it's because of Jason Mewes. So, but no, he's very, he plays very straight character in this movie. In the movie, he plays a character named Tommy. Now, Tommy is basically he's kind of a simple farmer boy, country boy, and his dad is played by William Sadler. Who William Sadler is not in the movie very long. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to give away a couple of spoilers here, but yeah, he's not in the movie for very long. But you could tell Sadler is he's a joy to watch. Just about anything he does, he's a joy to watch. And even in this movie, for the little bit of time that he's in here, he's a lot of fun too. But so anyway, so the movie starts off. You have this you know okay, now Tommy is William Sadler's son. William Sadler's character ended up marrying two male order Russian brides, but the joke is that the two mail order Russian brides that he got are basically lesbians, and so pretty much all these two lipstick lesbians do is have sex together all day and just be together and stuff like that. So they don't do anything with William Sadler's character or anything. Well, anyway, so the two of them, they're having their fun, and they catch Jason Mewes' character. He comes walking along, and he peeks in on them, and so they call him, I don't want to say the word, but they accuse him of having sex with goats, and the reason why we find out immediately that Tommy's character, he has two pet goats, and so they accuse him of having sex with the goats, which he doesn't do, but basically he's an animal lover. That's pretty much what the thing is. And that kind of really plays into his character, and I'll get into that in just a minute. But so they accuse him of having sex with the goat, and so they're yelling at him, and so they yell for William Sadler to to go and deal with him, because they caught him peeping on them and stuff. So he goes and he's like trying to find Jason Mewes' character, Tommy, and Tommy's running around, and he finds a pitchfork to defend himself with. Well, so William Sadler's character, he comes up and he sees Tommy's one of Tommy's pet goats, and so he tells Tommy, he's all like, if you don't get out here right away, I'm going to take your goat and I'm gonna kill it. And so he takes a shotgun and he's all like, one, two, three, and he ends up shooting the goat, unfortunately. And so of course this sends Tommy into a rage. Tommy, runs at his dad with the pitchfork and he gets him right in the throat. And one thing you're going to notice right away, which is probably the biggest problem with this movie, is going to be there is a ton of digital blood, a ton of digital special effects. So it looks very cartoony, it looks very silly. So that is probably the biggest gripe that I have overall with this movie, is just the CGI blood and the CGI gore looks really horrible. It doesn't look realistic at all. But anyway, so Tommy, he gets done, he kills his dad, and then he decides, these women ratted me out, and they're part of the reason my pet goat is dead. So he takes an axe and he goes, and so the women, they're saying horrible things to him and everything. So he walks in there with the axe and he just chops them up. So now the movie's beginning, and so Tommy decides, well, it's I need to get out of here, and so he washes up, changes his clothes, everything. And the thing about Tommy is he doesn't talk. It's kind of funny because in a roundabout way, it's like this is kind of it's sort of kind of like Jay playing Silent Bob because the character Tommy, he hardly speaks. He maybe says a word or two here and there, but that's about it. So anyway, so Tommy, he decides he's gonna beat on out of here. So he takes his one pet goat that he's got left, and he gets into a truck and he starts driving away. Well, while he's driving, he decides he's gonna stop and pick up a hitchhiker named Bobby. Well, this guy Bobby, turns out that he's a production assistant on a movie that's being shot called Silent but Deadly, and so he's talking. Bobby seems like a really nice guy, kind of easygoing and stuff like that. But he realizes like, okay, Tommy is a quiet guy, so he's just okay. So he's just happy to get a ride. But as they're getting ready to pull up, he's like, hey man, if you're looking for work, we might need another production assistant. But Tommy just kind of looks at him, and stuff. And so they get to the set, and the director, he's real. The actor playing him is really over the top. It's very comical and things like that. And he's just screaming and ranting and raving at everybody and all this. And he fires one of his production assistants. And so, because the assistant ended up giving him like a latte that had real milk, and he's like, I'm lactose intolerant, stuff like that. And so, so he tells him, well, why don't you hire this guy, Tommy? And so he goes to Tommy. He's all like, you know what? I tell you what, if you can get me a latte with, without real milk in it and stuff like that, because I'm lactose intolerant, if you can do that and, have it the color that I like it and stuff like that, that no foam and all this, then I'll go ahead and I'll hire you. So they go to the craft service, and they're telling him, dude, we don't have any like soy milk or anything. All we got is just regular milk. So Tommy, takes the latte, goes out, and he gets some milk from the goat. And then, he's able to, get it to where it's fine, puts in the latte and gives it to the director. And the director, he's just, he's all, oh, thank God. The one thing that really went right with this movie and everything. So in the meanwhile, while all this is going on, they go ahead and they give Tommy the job on the movie set as the production assistant. So while all this is going on, meanwhile, you got this lady, she's shooting a documentary, and she's taught, she at first she thinks the deputy is the sheriff. And then we find out the sheriff is a little person. And, and the thing is about this sheriff is this guy has to, in my opinion, he probably qualifies as like the worst sheriff I've ever seen in any movie ever. I mean, like, this guy is so about, like, he's just so happy that this good looking blonde woman is there. She's making a documentary, and like, instead of actually trying to solve crimes or actually doing his duty as a sheriff, he is way more interested in trying to impress this woman and trying to strut his stuff for her and trying to make it out like he's this badass cop who always gets his man and all this kind of stuff. And so, but the deputy gets a call that, there's been a murder, at, Tommy's family's place. So they go to investigate and everything. And so, you got the sheriff, he's just kind of, prancing around. Like I say, he's just kind of like trying to more show off for the woman, trying to get her to be hot to trot for him. But meanwhile, they continue on. Like, Tommy's, on the set, he's doing really well. A lot of people are a little bit put off by him, especially the fact that he's always got this goat with him. But, everybody's just like, well, whatever, he's got a pet goat. Who cares? So, the guy does good work. He busts his ass. He does good work, and he's quiet, but, hey, he's no threat to anybody. So it seems like all is going well. And so they even asked Tommy, hey, why don't you come on, hang out with us and stuff. Well, the sheriff, the deputy, and the lady doing the documentary, they show up on the set and they ask him, "Hey, have you seen anybody?" And so, we're looking for somebody and all this. And so Tommy's kind of hiding. He doesn't want to be found. And so they're like, "Nah, everything's fine," and all this stuff. And so Bobby and the lady doing the documentary, they decide that they're going to hook up. And so, so they all, at night, they get done with a day of shooting. They decide they're going to have a bonfire. Well, not a bonfire, just like a campfire. Smoke some weed, drink some brews, have a good day, unwind. And so Tommy goes and, they're just, joking around and everything else. And, Tommy seems like he's kind of fitting in a little bit. But, sorry, my throat's a little dry. But like the next morning, Tommy is asleep. Well, the goat, he usually has the goat tied to his truck, but unfortunately the rope comes loose. And so the goat, goes and is eating some trash. Well, the caterer, who's catering the movie, he sees the goat, decides, hey, dinner for everybody. We're going to have some great goat meals. And so he takes Tommy's goat and he kills the goat. So yeah, this movie's going to be a little hard hitting for animal lovers. It is for me a little bit because I love animals too. But so anyway, so Tommy, he wakes up and he finds out that his goat is gone, and then meanwhile, like the caterer, he's going around, he's giving everybody these burritos and all this, and Bobby's like, "What's in the burritos?" He's like, "Oh yeah, it's goat. I found a goat and I slaughtered it." And Bobby's like, "Oh shit, oh this is not good." So anyway, so Tommy goes in, he sees that his goat's been butchered and turned into food for the cast and crew, and Tommy just loses it and he goes on a killing spree. He starts killing everybody, just wiping everybody out. The sheriff and the deputy, they're still kind of running around, you know, but Bobby, he actually, he sees Tommy killing people. So he goes and he, calls his girlfriend and asks her, come and get me, so they get there and, so it's all like the fight ensues. And so I'm trying not to give too much away, but, so it's like they're trying to escape from Tommy, and Tommy is, kind of setting up traps for them and, trying to lure them in so he can kill them all and things like that. And, yeah, I think that's probably about where I'm going to leave as far as like explaining the movie. But this is a good movie. Some of the comedy is hit or miss. Some of the jokes are really funny. Some of the jokes not so much. Um, some of the acting is a little over the top, especially the actor playing the sheriff. But and like I said, just there are like this here, you don't really see that in the movie, but there are some pretty inventive kills in the movie. They got some good ideas, but like I said, it's just the thing that really, really hurts this movie is all the CGI blood. Excuse me, all the CGI blood, the CGI gore really kind of does take you out of it. I would say the biggest thing going for this movie is Jason Mewes himself, because I think that's probably this is Jason Mewes completely playing against type. We know him from comedy. We know him in, I mean, yeah, Jason Mewes has done a number of horror films. He was in The Tripper. He did the vampire movie Bitten. He pops up in Yoga Hosers. So I mean, he's done a number of horror movies. But this is him completely playing against anything he's ever done before. And honestly, even though Tommy does really, really horrible things in this movie, you genuinely feel sorry for him, because that's the thing. He doesn't like go out looking for trouble. He doesn't start anything with anybody. He doesn't try to hurt anyone. It's just, it's like when trouble comes to him, he gets mad and he takes revenge. And it's, and that's the thing, if you're an animal lover, you would understand, you would identify with Tommy, even though he does horrible things that you don't agree with. He does, you know, Mewes, he's actually very good at playing straight, and he actually gives the character of Tommy sympathy, which I think is really interesting. So it's like just to watch it for Mewes alone would be, a good thing. But this is a good movie. Like I said, it's fun. Some of the comedy, like I said, some of the jokes don't really land, but it is a fun watch. It's a quick movie, 81 minutes, so it blows by pretty fast. Like I said, just horrible gore effects. I mean, they do a little bit of, excuse me, they do a little bit of practical effects, which yeah, it looks good, but just the CGI special effects really kill this movie. But I would definitely say, yeah, if you're a fan of Jason Mewes, I would definitely say check it out. He actually really does, he really does show some range in this movie, and you see he's really upset, and like he conveys when he finds out that his goat is dead, you see that he's really genuinely upset and he's crying and things like that. And so you really feel for him in this movie, even though he does terrible things. But I would definitely say, yeah, give this movie a shot. So that's pretty much about all I can say about it. Yeah, I had fun with it. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a good movie. So if anybody took the time to watch all this, I thank you for doing it, and I appreciate you for doing it. I honestly hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the Body Bags channel. We have a different reviewer, one for every day of the week. I'm the Saturday reviewer. We got a bunch of great guys. They're all doing great stuff, and we're having fun. We got our war horror theme coming up next week. That's going to be fun to do. So that's it. So everybody, take care. Have a good night, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.